Good afternoon. I'm so glad that you took a few minutes out of your day to join us for this webinar. My name is Nate Hall. I've been a MachMotion sales engineer for the last 5 years. If we happen to have exchanged emails or phone calls before, happy to put a face with the name. If you talk to someone else here, or maybe this is your first interaction with MachMotion, I just want to welcome you. Glad that you're here to hopefully learn a little bit more about our perspective on CNC retrofits, and hopefully in some way that can help you run your business, run your machines. We're in a unique position because we've basically opened up a funnel for people with problems to call us every single day for the last 20 years. So myself, my team, those that came before me, we've got a lot of feedback from what customers running aging CNC machines run into as they go through their everyday. So hopefully there's something you can pick up that's of use to you here. Just a couple of housekeeping items. We are recording today's webinar. If you did register before we began today, we're going to send you a link after the webinar is over. Feel free to send that with your, share that around your company and your team. Maybe you've got a unique perspective at your company for the problems with the CNC machine, but it's ultimately someone else's decision to decide what to do about it. So I just invite you to share the link around. Hopefully the information is of use to you in some way. Second item is we will be doing some live Q&A during the webinar today. If you look down in the Zoom work bar, there should be a Q&A button that you can click on that, submit a question during the webinar. We'll wait till the very end to answer all of those questions, but we will answer those in real time. So maybe you have a specific question about ourselves, our process, our pricing, the things that we do as part of a controls upgrade project. Feel free to submit those, and I will be happy to answer those questions. Myself and the rest of my team, we've also left a couple of hours open on our calendar today. So we don't have meetings booked. We don't have calls booked. If you want to get some time on the phone with us immediately after this webinar, just give us a buzz. Our phone number is on our website, should be in all the email correspondence. Just call up, ask for myself or someone on the sales team, and we would be happy to discuss your machine, your problems, and how we can help you avoid some of the typical things that customers do or machinists and business owners do as they seek to maintain a CNC fleet. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and dive in today talking about hidden threats in your CNC machines. MachMotion, we are a company that has helped companies avoid problems with their CNC machines for the last 23 years. We really help, our main goal in everything that we do is really to extend the reliable production life of CNC equipment. We are a manufacturer ourselves. We know that the manufacturing industry is a rapidly changing one, and you've got to do everything that you can to stay ahead of the game. Just like a chess player sits at a board and analyzes their next moves, you really, as a business owner, have to think about the future and what you're going to do next. Are outdated and obsolete CNC controls holding you back in some way? Are these old computers and old hardware really slowing down your process and slowing down your production? Let's think strategically about these very, very important assets and some things that you can be doing to make sure that you can stay at peak performance and production. If you're running old CNC equipment, you know that old and outdated CNC controls can lead to increased downtime on your production floor. They can compromise your cut quality. They can make it difficult to train and onboard a new operator. Ensuring that your machine avoids all these things is very important to your strategic and ongoing success. With these machines, there could be hidden threats lurking in the background that you've seen before, or maybe some that you haven't seen before. Really identifying these hidden threats is very important so you can know they're there and take strategic aim at eliminating those threats. Your failure to do this probably means the chess game will be over sooner rather than later. So you've really got to sit and assess and make calculated decisions so that you can outsmart your opponent. If going through this evaluation process really puts you in a position where you can make very good decisions about what you do next and how you move forward. Because really, your CNC machine sets the pace of your business. When that spindle's running, you're making parts, you're producing, you're making money. When that spindle's not running, production comes to a halt, and that pace really gets slowed down and puts you in a really bad spot. The key to gaining control of your entire situation is to really think ahead. If you can think ahead and anticipate, you set yourself up for success in the future. So what I really want to do today is start by asking some questions that will help you make this assessment. If you make a good assessment of your situation and your machines, you can then start to make steps to do things the right way in the future. So as we begin, let's just start asking some questions. I want you to think about the answers to these questions just in your own mind. How do these reflect on your production floor, and really try to be as honest as you possibly can asking these questions of yourself. The first question is pretty simple. How old are your machines and controls? In our experience, your CNC control can be pretty aged by as little as 7 years. 7 years is probably the soonest we would see an expiration date. Some makes and models can get a little bit more life out of that, but really that 7-year mark is a pretty key indicator of age and expiration. I want you to think about your cell phone in your pocket. I know I don't have an old cell phone in my pocket. I'm running, a 2-year-old iPhone. You wouldn't run a 7 or 10-year-old smartphone. You'd really be hampered in your ability to communicate with your family and your teams and make things happen on your calendar. Why would you rely on a 7-plus-year-old control to run your manufacturing business? The second question I want you to ask is your machine mechanically sound? A lot of guys that I talk to work in maintenance or are owner operators, and they're really hands-on with the machine. They know it cuts good parts. They know the condition the machine is in. But if you're more disconnected from that, we can help you answer those questions. We offer inspection services, can do a machine health check. That's really a good question to ask in your evaluation process. Is your machine mechanically sound? And if you don't know the answer to it, how do I get to the bottom of that or get an answer to that question? Have you or your team, the next question is, have you or your team experienced a problem with your current controls? This is a pretty simple yes or no question. If the answer is no, you're probably running something new, or your OEM is supporting you at a very high level. If you answered yes to this question, the follow-up is, has the event contributed to significant downtime or caused me a loss in any sort of way? If the answer to either of those is yes, you really got to pay attention. And again, think ahead to what you're going to do next. Have the machine controls been repaired, or have you implemented some sort of Band-Aid or short-term fix to keep them operational? I hear this all the time. This is kind of part of manufacturing 101, to be able to kind of ferret out a guerrilla fix, like in the now, in the moment, just to keep that spindle running. You get up on eBay, you find a technical advisor, you get someone there to fix your machine because you've got to have it running today. If this is happening to you, let me assure you that well is eventually going to dry up. I talk to a lot of guys that rely on that eBay parts list to keep their machine running, and they think it's going to last forever. And then it comes to a point where they've got work built up for the machine. They go to that eBay lever to pull it, and there's nothing there, and there's no solution in sight for days, weeks, sometimes months. That's really no way to run a modern manufacturing business. You've got to be able to rely on your machine when it matters the most. So think about those questions kind of all put together. If you were unsatisfied with any of those answers, now is the time to be thinking about what you can do next. I talk to a lot of guys that wait until something breaks really to go through this evaluation process. If you wait to do this evaluation, that puts you in an expedited situation that's going to give you heartburn and gray hairs and possibly make the people on your production floor stressed out themselves. It just becomes a pressure cooker of a situation. Really thinking about a long-term solution is the best way to make sure that none of these things happen. You don't want that kind of failure to put you in check, to go back to the chess analogy. How can we think ahead and avoid that check scenario from even happening? So what's your next move in this chess game? How can you plan strategically for the future so that you know what to do next rather than just waiting? Let's go over just a few options. These are the options that we hear about that are very frequently used in industry by people running CNC equipment. The first option is to go to that Band-Aid and short-term fix. I think we've gone over pretty thoroughly why that's not the best idea. That's really something, if you're thinking strategically and thinking about the long term, you really want to avoid that short-term Band-Aid fix, because you don't know if it's going to be available next time. You could really be in a pinch if you're relying on that to run your business and run your machines. A second option a lot of our customers do is weigh the option of buying another used machine. Again, we've got the funnel open. We're talking to people every single day. And the thing that we hear over and over again is that with a used machine, you're buying an as-is machine. If something breaks in transit, if the machine is not up to snuff like it's advertised, all of those things become your problem to fix. OEMs a lot of times are less apt to support a used machine. There's just a lot of risk inherent in that process. For a lot of manufacturers I talk to, they can accept that level of risk is acceptable for the price tag. But in our experience, a lot of guys pull at that lever and are really dependent on it getting them out of a bind, and they just continue to stay in that bind in the short term, or they find themselves in the bind a lot sooner than they had originally anticipated. The next option is obviously buying a new machine. A lot of guys tell me, well, I can get a new machine for X amount of dollars, and they're really not factoring in the additional headaches that come along with that price tag. Moving the machine, moving the footprint around your floor of your shop floor, retooling the machine, learning the rigidity and how fast you can run the machine. All of these things contribute to added costs that are not going to be on that initial price tag. Next to these three options, there is a fourth way that we have discovered and helped guide our customers through in our 20-year experience. That fourth way is a controls upgrade that can help you optimize and continue to run your current CNC machine. Our vision is to help you look at the big picture, really make a strong calculated decision of this is the right machine for me. I can get a second life out of it and continue to run it. By optimizing and continuing to run the machine you already have, you can propel yourself forward. This is not a short-term fix. This is a way for you to continue to run the machine in a supported and reliable way that allows your business to thrive. The way that we accomplish an optimization project, allowing you to continue to run the machine that you have, is with the application of our 2000 series CNC controller. It is a modern interface that we have spent 20 years painstakingly developing so that it is easy to use for operators. It is flexible with the wireless pendant and some other features that we've built in. The setup and the ability to troubleshoot using the control is second to none. We can actually log into your control in real time, work with your maintenance team, work with your operators to work on all configuration, setup, tuning to ensure that you have a machine that runs with this control and is supported with this control. A big asset to us is that we do have all US-based support. We're actually just to the left of our support office right now, where our support techs are actively talking with customers, actively emailing and showing through pictures and diagrams how to run the machine. We're actively logging into the controls to look at alarms and look at the things that are going wrong. And we are doing this on machines that we've had running for the last 15 years. So that really sets us apart, that we've really been on the forefront of this ability to log into a control. And again, the thing that sets us apart is we're real people that you can call up. We guarantee same-day callbacks. We can expedite support if we need to, but all of these things are baked into the controls upgrade process and project. The next thing that we do to ensure that your machine is optimized and ready to run for years to come is that we get really in depth with the electrical system and the problems that need to be addressed there. A lot of people ask me, well, why can't I just update the computer? A key place that those hidden threats exist is in the electrical system. It's in the old servo drives. It's in the servo cables that have been running for 15 years and are starting to dry rot and become unreliable. So by the overhaul of the electrical system, that gives us the ability to give you a machine that will run for years to come. We get really detailed with the enclosure itself or the panel. We rigorously QC it. We pull every wire before we ship it to you. We ship it with an engineered and easy to read schematic so that you can keep the schematic with the control. And again, just like a new machine, run it confidently for years to come. It is our goal to be a guide through this process. And we have done that thousands of times with our customers. Shown them the hardware that we use, show them the process, and point them on the path of CNC retrofit and optimization. We offer a host of installation and on-site services. Maybe you're the guy that really wants to tinker with the machine and bring it back to life. Honestly, 80% of our projects over the last 20 years have been customer installs, and we are built for that customer install model. But maybe you've got too much time. Maybe you've got to spend your time running your business. Maybe you've got other things pulling you away from the machine. We have a team of dedicated and skilled installers that this is all they do is come on site, decommission old controls, install our package, and leave you with a running machine at the end of it. That's the thing that is really key to us. We're not going to leave you in a lurch. We stick with the project until it's done and your spindle is running and you are able to hit the ground running in production, making parts. This upgrade, again, is built into our DNA. We have been doing this upgrade work for the past 20 plus years. We are passionate about helping companies optimize and continue to run CNC equipment. And this upgrade process is logical and strategic, and we have seen it pay off for our partners over and over again, keeping their machines running. Don't let an obsolete control affect your ROI. Don't let a Band-Aid fix affect your ROI. Don't let the waste of buying a brand new machine affect your ROI. Take a good, honest, strategic look at your machine and really maximize that asset and keep the spindle running and keep making parts. So you might be asking, how do I get started in this journey? How do I make this evaluation for myself, my company, and my machine? Myself and my team, we are very fluent in walking customers through this process. We start with something called a needs analysis, where we engage one-on-one with the customer, again, real person, to talk about your needs. Most of the time, we conduct this needs analysis and really just ask 4, 5, 6, 7 questions. Gives us a very good read on your machine, your process. And from there, we can make some recommendations and assessments as to what you should do next. If you're unsure and 4, 5, 6 questions is not enough for you, we can do a more in-depth machine health inspection where we come look at the ball screws and run a ball bar test and evaluate the rails and listen to the spindle health. We can do all of these things to really identify if a optimization project is the next best step for you. and we'll be real with you. We will help you make that assessment and really help you identify if your machine is worth that investment to keep running and keep making parts with that machine. We are tremendously interested in making sure you can make an informed decision. So we want to give you the platform to do that, help you ask the right questions so that we can arrive at that answer together. The thing that you get if we go through this process is a machine you can rely on like a new machine. Our control is modern and connected. We offer that high-level support, like I mentioned, so we can keep the machine up and running. We can use it to train. It's modern, it's connected. Gone are the days of serial ports and RS-232 connections and having to use floppy disks to get programs to the control. It is a modern connected system that you can easily communicate with and integrate into your production, your production infrastructure there. We are compatible with all CAD CAMs so that you can easily load and transfer programs. We even have the ability to translate. We have a G-code adapter that will allow you to run a library of legacy parts. All of these things are, again, built into our DNA to give you the tools to continue to run your CNC equipment in this optimized and extended way. As we wrap up today, I hope we've helped you think about your machines. I hope that we've helped you think about your business. I hope that we've helped set the table for maybe doing things in a new way and maybe stepping out of the pattern of the ways that a lot of companies traditionally solve their CNC problems. So again, wrapping up today, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I hope there's some questions that have come in. We're just gonna go dive into a little bit of Q&A now, just to look at some of the questions that came in through the webinar. The first question is Mach available for 6-axis Swiss lathe controller? The answer is no today, and we give that answer fairly frequently. There's a couple of limitations that we do have in Swiss machining. If you're running a Swiss machine, or I've watched the videos run on YouTube and Instagram, so I know Swiss machining is super cool and fun to watch, but we're just not there as a retrofitter today. We lack a few key things that allow us to do that Swiss type process. So this is the way we approach the market. We really look at segments of machines where there's a lot of them, where the controls are failing, and there's a lot of machines to be retrofitted. We're really just not there with Swiss machining yet. There's not a plethora of these machines that need a retrofit yet, but if we ever see that that market segment is in need of a retrofit solution, we'll develop those features that we need to be able to retrofit a Swiss lathe machine. We can do standard 2-axis lathes very well. We do everything from a small flatbed tool room lathe to a big Pariba lathe, with a 100-horse motor and everything in between. So good question. Thanks so much for asking. Next question is, do you use an industrial control? In our experience, the measure of an industrial control is both in hardware, reliability, serviceability. That's the marker of an industrial control. Like I mentioned before, we have spent 20 years painstakingly developing our 2000 series control. This is a full steel enclosure. We build all of our control package with globally available parts. We use all high-end Yaskawa servo motors and drives in our applications, which are also globally available and supported. The other mark of an industrial control is it running in an industrial production everyday environment? So the answer to that question, if that is your mark, if those are the markers of an industrial control, then yes, we meet the marks of an industrial control. We build it in-house. We support it in-house. We've got it in hundreds of facilities around the US running daily production, sometimes 2 and 3 shifts. So it is built rigorously and tested for an industrial environment. Next question, how much does it cost to upgrade my computer? I get this question a lot. Typically, when people I talk to are referring to the computer, they mean just the front end control. In our younger days, we did a little bit more, kind of guerrilla style retrofits where we would leave the servo motors alone and leave the electrical enclosure alone and just upgrade the computer. This is enemy number one for leaving hidden threats left in your system. When we leave those old servo motors, cables, drives, and electrical components, sometimes there's additional motion control boards in the electrical cabinet. That is enemy number one for hidden threats. So we learned a long time ago, if you want an optimized and reliable machine that you can run, we've got to go that next step and address the hardware in addition to the computer. Next question, do you offer any services that check the mechanics of my CNCs? Yes, the answer to that is yes. We have an install and fieldwork team that has a 45-point health check that we can send our techs on site and check the airlines and check the motion, do a ball bar test and see how good of a circle we can make. We have the ability to do that in-house. We also work with a pretty large network of machine repair companies and machine rebuilders that can also provide this service. Sometimes it makes more sense rather for us to hop on a plane and fly several hours to do the inspection. We might have a trusted partner in your backyard already. So we'll call them up, they'll take our inspection form, they'll come on site and do the same level of install work, and we'll deliver the results of those inspections back to you. So you've got a good feel for the overall mechanical health of your machine. How can I get started with a needs analysis on my CNC router? That's reach out to us. If you're wanting to just kind of do a first look, if you will, I'd recommend going to our website, really go to our YouTube channel. We post a lot of project videos there. We try to get real feedback from real customers to give you some insight to what the process looks like. Once you've got a little bit of that framework built up, give us a call. We're available and reachable. There's very rarely that I can't return a phone call the same day it comes in. So we really try to take that speedy personal approach, and we'll do the needs analysis with you. We'll ask the questions about how old's the machine? Is it down right now? How good of parts do you cut? What's your technical aptitude for the installation? These are the questions that we dig into on a needs analysis so that we can frame the project properly and then put that into a proposal or some sort of way that helps you understand what needs to happen next to update and optimize your machine. Looks like that is the end of the questions. Again, I personally thank you so much. I know that guys that work in manufacturing are busy. There's always a fire of the day. There's always something else that needs your attention. So if you've taken your time out of your day to join us in the webinar, I know that that's a sacrifice, and I really appreciate that. Again, we will share this webinar with you as a YouTube link via email when we're done here. And if you do want to dive into that needs analysis today, tomorrow, into next week, find some time where you can sit down on the computer or sit down at your phone, give me a call or one of my team a call, and we'll really dive into that process and see how we can help you think ahead, think about the hidden threats, avoid a potential downtime scenario in the future, and keep running a successful, productive business where you keep product and parts going out the door. Thanks so much. Appreciate you. Again, have a good day.